Welcome to Inside the Indians, your source for insider information on the Tribe. Stay with us as we bring you the latest about the players, managers, and people behind the scenes at Victory Field. Now here's your host, the longtime broadcast voice of the Indians, Howard Kellman.
Hi everybody, I'm Howard Kellman and welcome to Inside the Indians. On today's show, we'll talk with former Indianapolis Indian player, former big leaguer, and current Pittsburgh Pirates infield coordinator, Chris Truby. We'll be back with Chris after these messages. Chris Truby is our guest on Inside the Indians. He's a former Indianapolis Indian player. He's a former Major League player and current infield coordinator with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Chris, how are things going?
Going well, Howard. Good to see you. Good to be back in town, actually. So it's been nice being home.
That's wonderful. Yeah, Chris lives in Fishers. Before we get to your work with the Pirates, excuse me, let's talk about growing up in Hawaii. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I moved there when I think it was right before, it was about preschool age, and I stayed there through high school. Then once I graduated high school, we moved out. My parents moved to Seattle, but growing up in Hawaii is awesome. I mean, it's the laid back aloha style. It's actually good baseball out there too. So like I was fortunate growing up there to be around some good players and play good baseball, even though it's on a small island. But there was just a lot. It was just awesome. It's a great place to be, great place to visit. It was an awesome place to live.
And the nice thing is the climate is conducive toward baseball.
Yeah, it was cool. Like just being able to play, all sports year round. I think there was a point where I had a baseball season going on probably, I would say 9 months out of the year. So, and mixed in football as well. But I actually like being out here because I grew up without seasons. So now I get a chance to have all 4 seasons and actually almost, I like the winter. It's weird growing up in Hawaii, you get all the good stuff. And then when I get here, I actually like the snow. So.
Well, that's good. Now tell us your journey, how you got to Indiana.
Again, I signed out of high school, and then my parents moved to Seattle. So I lived in Seattle for a couple of years, and then I got married while I was playing in Illinois. So, and then my wife and her sister and her mother ended up moving out here. They got a job. My sister-in-law got a job nannying out here. And then she got married. We just followed them out, and now the whole family's out here. And it's just it's a natural migration east that normal people do from Hawaii to Seattle to Indiana. So
that's terrific. What are your thoughts when you look back to your playing career?
I was lucky. Again, I was a non-drafted free agent out of high school. I didn't get a whole lot of scholarship offers out of high school either. I had one. I was going to go to university. It was Hawaii Pacific University, where I was going to pitch and play the infield. So, getting an opportunity just to play professional baseball at any level was awesome. And then, just sticking around for as long as I did as a player, and I was just lucky. It was a lot of it's timing, a lot of it's right place, right time. But I think. It's funny because I could play defense always, and I think that's what kept me around until I learned how to hit. And I was lucky. I don't know that too many people would have gotten the opportunities that I did, and being able to stick around for as long as I did. So I was blessed.
In 2000, you had a good year for the Astros, an Astros team that made it to the postseason.
Yeah, I was lucky, and I got an opportunity to play, and I performed well. It was a really good team, and being around good players. So like it was just I was a small part of a team that played well. I mean, I had a couple of Hall of Famers on that club, so it was an awesome experience. It was being able to be part of a postseason team was incredible. Just the atmosphere and how different it is compared to the regular season. So that was really cool.
Then we get to the end of your career. You play with the Indianapolis Indians in 2006 on a good Indians team, a team that finished tied for first place.
Yeah, it was, you know, I had previous experience with the Pirates, and I played in Nashville in 04. So I got to know Trent Jewett pretty well, and Brian Graham, the farm director. So, you know, I was lucky enough as I call Brian and talk to Trent, just basically asking to play at home and be a part of a really good club. So it was, again, I think that the clubs that I played on here, they always seem to put together pretty decent clubs here. It's a great fan base and it's a great place to play. But like the years I played, I look back, there were some really good players on that club. So just an enjoyable time.
You mentioned Trent Jewett. I stay in touch with him, and he was the Indians manager from 2005 to 2008. I thought a terrific manager. And unfortunately, he's out of the game and has been for almost 10 years now. And that's sad, I think, because he had so much to offer.
Yeah, he's a guy that I personally learned a lot from, just in terms of helping to lead into my coaching career. Just the way he treated players, the way he went about his business, the way he ran a clubhouse. You know, I mean, good baseball guy, great baseball guy, but even better person in terms of how he treated his players and how he got his players ready to play in the major leagues.
We'll have more with Chris Truby. This is Inside the Indians. On Inside the Indians. Chris is the Pittsburgh Pirates minor league infield coordinator. Chris, tell us about coming over to work for the Pirates this year, because you've been with other organizations.
Yeah, I spent the previous 13 with the Phillies in a number of different roles, but prior to that, started with the Pirates as a coach. But getting back was it's a great opportunity. I spent the first spring basically getting a chance to get to know players and get to know staff. It was really rough with how spring was and how, you know, we had the lockout. So I didn't get a chance really to be around a lot of the guys that are on this club. So it you know, so far so good. It's been an incredible experience. It's got really good players to start off with, like from top to bottom, but also like staff members that are welcoming, but they're also they're good baseball people, man. And I think it's the Pittsburgh Pirate organization is a good spot right now. And I think it's just a matter of time. It'll be, you know, till our young guys get up there, we're going to be really good.
I think Miguel Perez, the Indians manager, not only is a good baseball man, but a terrific person. I'll tell you, he's got a sense of humor. A quick story the other day, I was bringing up the fact that some catchers will call for what they can't hit, and that those are sliders. And Miggy said to me, well, I called for both fastballs and sliders because I couldn't hit either one of them.
It's funny. He was out there working yesterday and he hit he was working with Cruz in left field, and he hit a couple balls out there to the wall, and he goes, I learned how to hit too late.
That's terrific. What are your thoughts? What do you try to get across to all the infielders?
Just the importance of playing defense. I think this game is you know, the offense kind of takes precedent in a lot of ways, and everybody works on their offense and works on their hitting and their base running and whatnot. And the defense at times gets kind of left behind. But the reality is at the major league level, and you can see it now where supposedly the ball has changed a little bit, where the ball's not flying out anymore like it used to. You know, defense is a priority, and, you know, winning teams play good defense, and that's just the way it is. And I think in order to be an everyday major league player, it's about being a well-rounded player. It's not just how much you can hit, because there's only one DH spot. So you got to be able to play defense. You got to help your team when you're going 0 for 4.
You may remember the name Tony Muser. He was a player. He managed Kansas City in the big leagues, a longtime coach. He said to me many years ago that at least 75% of physical errors defensively or due to poor mental preparation? What are your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think, this game, it's hard because like there's some dead time in the game. There used to be anyway with the pitch clock. There's not a whole lot of dead time anymore, but with the dead time, there's a lot of time to think, and there's a lot of time to think about your at bats. There's a lot of time to not think about the actual task at hand, and I think that's where a lot of younger players get caught up. And I think the major league managers in the big leagues, they like veteran players because veteran players they learn how to block that out, and they make less mental mistakes. And I think that's one of the teaching points down in the minor leagues is being able to, once we cross the field and we're playing defense, it's focus. It's focus on the little things. It's focus on preparing, focus on who's hitting, how he runs, just a lot of the little things that factor into playing defense.
I've been told you should be exhausted mentally after a game if you're focusing on every single pitch.
Absolutely. I think it's 3 hours of just mental warfare. It's you got the battle going on between the hitter pitcher, but then you're on the field, preparing yourself on where you're supposed to go in different situations and what pitch is being thrown. Just those 3 seconds of action where the pitcher's winding up and delivering the pitch is like, it's exhausting when you do it 140 times a game. So at the end of the day, yeah, you should be exhausted and you need to sit down and have a good little rest.
Next year, they're going to outlaw shifts. What are your thoughts on that?
It is what it is. I mean, I don't make the rules, but I personally like the shift. I believe in putting the players where they're going to hit the ball, and like, that's just, they shifted back in the day, way back in the day. They just don't really talk about it. They've been shifting ever since baseball started. You get to the point where you just play the players where they're going to hit it. I can tell you a funny story about my wife coached my kids in softball, and they played, this is just rec league softball. They're 10 years old, and my wife is coaching, and she's got the second baseman on the shortstop side of the base, and they won every game up until the championship game. The championship game, the other coaches were like, no, they got to play here. They have to play here. And my wife's like, why? Why can't I just put them where they're going to hit the ball? There's like, no, you have to put a second baseman here. They called out the league president. They called everybody out there in the middle of the championship game. And then they forced my wife to put the players at what would be like the standard positioning. And they end up losing the game. So It kind of just goes to show you like how important positioning matters. And I just think that ultimately you put them where they're supposed to hit it. But with the shift being out, it's out. I think you might see some players be able to show their athleticism a little bit more in some regards, but I think offense will go up at that point as well.
That's well said. Chris Truby is our guest on Inside the Indians. We'll have more with Chris after these messages. Pittsburgh Pirates infield coordinator, our guest on Inside the Indians. And Chris, when you look at this roster, the first guy that comes to mind, the number one prospect in the Pirates system, is O'Neal Cruz. He's about 6'7", playing shortstop. Give us your thoughts and feelings on him.
I mean, this is my first time being around him, and incredible athlete. He does things that people that are 6'7" don't do. And I believe he can play shortstop. He's just a good athlete, and he doesn't play like a 6'7" player you would think. I mean, he's quick. He's got an unbelievable arm, and he catches the ball. So, it's fun to watch him play. He played really good defensively this past series. And his bat started to come alive too. But what an incredible talent. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player in the big leagues for a long time.
And you look at him, he's pretty smooth and fluid, I think. And you have to have that from a shortstop. To me, a second baseman's a little different, but to me, a shortstop, it's got to be smooth and fluid.
I mean, he covers a lot of ground, and he's quick. He's not rigid in any way. He's just an incredible athlete with really good body control. And I think that's the difference between shortstops and everywhere else is just the ability to control their body, because they're catching balls and they're running in all kind of different angles and being able to throw from different angles and different places on the field. So yeah, he's fun to watch. He's fun to watch practice. But again, I just believe this kid's got a chance to be a good major leaguer for a long time.
Yep, I agree completely. And he's played some left field, but his preference, he's made it quite clear. He said, I want to be a shortstop and a shortstop in the big leagues. And there's no reason, as you said, why he can't become a really good one.
Yeah, he can, and he will. But ultimately, I think, he just wants to be a big leaguer as well. I think everybody just wants to be impact big leaguers. And, I think that him being a shortstop is where it's at. I love the fact that he loves playing shortstop. He's not looking for an easy way to do anything. He's, again, talented, the ability to do things that smaller guys can't. And again, I think just there's questions because of his size, maybe. Some people may question it, but I don't. I look at it and I see a guy that can make plays.
Right. I wondered too, but then I saw him play and I changed and I was like, he can play. He can do this. He's a really good looking player, as we said. Any impressions on some of the other infielders?
I mean, there's some talent here, like Castro, really good player, versatile, playing all three positions and can swing the bat. Like you hit the ball to him, he's out. Bay, phenomenal. Just the ability to play second base. He can probably play some shortstop too, and he's moved in the outfield. It's just that Mason Martin is developed as a first baseman. So there's just talent across the board here. And we got Park, who just got here as well, who's a major league player. So there's good players here. There's only, 4 positions on the field, on the infield. So it's a crowded place to play at this point, but it's having that kind of talent, on one club is pretty impressive. And the versatility that these guys have, with a couple of them being able to go jump in the outfield as well, just to help defensively out there. So it's a talented group for sure.
Do you spend time with each infielder saying, okay, here's what you're doing, here's what we need from you, here's how you can get better?
Yeah, I think we sit with, we observe and we watch, and, I like, teaching through video and kind of showing them where they're at and what they're doing and find ways to get them better. Our goal, our job as coaches is not to keep them the same. And I don't want them to be good AAA players. I want these guys to be good major league players. So I think there's certain things that everybody has to work on, and it's pretty specific with each person as to what they need to work on.
I've been told, some infielders have said, that you're actually, when you talk about fielding a ground ball, you're fielding it with your legs first, because you got to get in proper position. Can you please comment on that?
Yeah, I think any good infielder has good feet. And, if you don't have good feet, you're not going to be a good infielder. That's just the way it is. And that's where, certain guys like O'Neill stand out to me, where he's a big guy that he moves well, his feet work. And I think that's one of the things that, our strength staff, our medical staff, they put into their head, when we come in and we work out and we train our feet. Because again, yeah, you're moving through the ball. If you don't have good feet, you're going to be catching the ball in some awkward positions and having to redirect to throw a baseball. So feet are probably the most important thing. Everybody talks about your hands, but your good feet make for good hands. Bad feet make for bad hands. That's just the way it is.
As we mentioned earlier, shortstop's got to be fluid and smooth. Everybody can improve, but you can't teach that. You either have it or you don't. When I look at a third baseman, when I look at a first baseman, I think at those positions, no matter what you have, with a lot of hard work, you can improve. Yeah,
100%. And I think there, it's when you're playing on the corners, it's about the ability to react quickly and just kind of go for it. Like, take shots, take chances. The ball's moving fast. So if you're in there anticipating a ball being hit really hard, and that is your mindset from pitch one, and you're going to be in a good position to make plays. And I think the difference between the two is the ball just gets on you so fast that it's such a reactionary position on each side that, it takes a lot of the guesswork out, which is fun. I think I was a shortstop in high school, and, having a ball hit to you and it bounces 2, 3, 4 times, it's like too much time for me to think. So when they put me at third base, I'm like, this is awesome. I don't have to think anymore. I can just go like, there's a little white thing that's running. I'm going to go catch it. And there was just a whole lot less thought process that went into it, which in a lot of ways just allows players to kind of free themselves up.
Well, Chris, it's been wonderful spending time with you. Thank you so much. Great to have you back. 2006, we enjoyed having you here as a player, and best of luck.
I appreciate it, Howard. Good seeing you.
That's Chris Truby, and this is Inside the Indians. Indianapolis player, former big leaguer, and the current Pittsburgh Pirates infield coordinator. We'll see you next week on Inside the